This week on Just Jason Keto, we're making creamy peanut butter, chocolate chip, and banana chaffles. So let's get started. Okay, for this chaffle recipe, we're going to use 2 large eggs, and we're going to use some mascarpone cheese. I really like this in chaffles. We've got 2/3 of a cup of shredded mozzarella cheese, 1/4 cup of sugar-free chocolate chips. We're going to add some of this banana extract in to give it to the banana flavor. And then we're also going to add some natural peanut butter in there. That's just smooth peanut butter. So this week we're actually going to use a blender. Now, using a blender does work really well for chaffles. It makes a nice smooth batter. Typically I don't use it for the most part, mainly because it's just another thing to clean, and I think you can get good results without it. But for this one, we're gonna use the blender. So we've got the eggs and cheese in there first, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put in, 2 heaping teaspoons of this mascarpone cheese. It's sticking to the spoon, unfortunately, so we'll just get our little spatula and scrape that in. Now, like I was saying at the beginning, I do like using this mascarpone cheese in chaffle recipes, just like I like using cream cheese. I find it adds a really nice flavor and texture to our chaffles, and it's got a great taste to it. So that's why I've sort of gravitated towards using this lately. So now we're going to use our peanut butter, add that in to the mix. Again, that's 1/4 cup of all natural smooth peanut butter. So we get that in there. And then what we'll do is we'll blend this together first, just to get the batter started. And then I just want to leave the chocolate chips whole. So we'll add those after we blend. So we'll get our Ninja blender plugged in here and get it lined up. It has to go on the blender in a certain way, which I'm apparently struggling with here. So what we'll do is blend this until it's smooth. I'll move you down here so you can see it a little bit better. I like this little blender. It's kind of handy, and it doesn't take up too much room in the cupboard. So we'll give that a good mix for, 20-30 seconds. That'll get it mixed up enough. And then we'll open that up after one last pulse, make sure everything is good. And then we'll just use our spatula to make sure we don't lose anything on the lid there. So yeah, as you can see, it's a nice smooth batter using the mixer. So what I did is I just transferred it to a bowl because it's a lot easier to work with in a bowl. So like I say, you can see everything is nice and smooth in there. So now we're going to add our banana extract. Now this is an optional thing, obviously. I just like the flavor of banana, and you can add less or more. I did find it added a good flavor, and that was, a good teaspoon, maybe 1.5 teaspoons that I added. And we'll just give that a good mix in to make sure it's well incorporated into the batter. And then the last thing we'll have to do here is add in our chocolate chips at the end. These are just a sugar-free chocolate chip that's sweetened with stevia. So get those mixed in. Again, you don't have to worry too much about mixing that too much. Just want to get them in there so you can divide them up in the chaffles evenly. Now this mix did wound up making 4 chaffles, just for your information kind of thing. So we'll open up our Dash Minis that are preheated here and start loading the mix in. Again, you just want to, it's kind of hard to tell, but you just want to evenly distribute your chocolate chips the best as possible. 2.5 scoops is usually good enough for a Chaffle in the Dash Mini. The first two I did wind up overfilling it a little bit, so we made a bit of a mess, but it happens sometimes. That's why every time I make these, I cook them on a cutting board. Just makes for easier cleanup. Okay, so we'll close up the Dash Minis. Now these are going to take 4 to 5 minutes to cook. And when they were done, they were nice and golden brown. The banana really came through in the smell when they were cooking. So yeah, they turned out really well. Sometimes with peanut butter chaffles, they can turn out a little bit dry. So that's why I wanted to try adding the mascarpone cheese to try and make them a little creamier in the middle kind of thing. They are quite firm on the outside, but inside they turned out really nice and soft. So I was happy with that. We'll just load up these last 2 chaffles into the Dash Minis. Now these are the Dash Mini multi-makers that allow the iron plates to come off for easy cleanup. I really enjoy using these waffle irons. Get a lot of use out of them, and they seem to work perfectly fine every time I use them. So definitely would recommend. Let's close that up and let these 2 cook, and we'll get them out when they're done. Now I always put my chaffles on a wire rack for a few minutes after they're done, just to let them cool off a little bit. I find they don't get soggy that way. So that's the last 2 out. And as always with peanut butter chaffles, I like to add some butter. So yeah, really enjoyed how these turned out. They really had a good flavor, and like I say, they were nice and soft inside. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. And we'll see you next week for another recipe video. Keep on thriving, my friends.